Well, Chris, I'd love to hear your story. I put the highlights, which are there. I'd love to hear your story, told in your own words. So go back as far as you like, and tell me how in the world does Chris Galvin end up here today?
Well, Sandy, I always say that I am, with the exception of one event, I'm the luckiest guy in the whole world. Literally the luckiest guy in the whole world. And the reason being is I actually got born into the Galvin family. And the Galvin family is quite a unique entity. This is the Paul Galvin and Bob Galvin line and then Chris Galvin line of the family, because Paul, who had an insatiable desire to have his own company, ultimately founded Motorola. But Motorola was his third company. The first two went bankrupt, completely bankrupt. Okay. And it turns out that the culture of Motorola actually got built upon the learnings from the first two bankruptcies. And so for me, it turns out that I looked at what was happening, understood the underlying values of the company, which is the highest integrity, having highest integrity, and then showing 100% dignity and respect for the individual. And then, again, insatiable desire to invent, create, recognize the new, and take the risk on it to put it forward. And so for me, I found that really intriguing and fun. My brother, it turns out, who's a very bright attorney and, worked in the government for George Bush and all kinds of things, which is great. It didn't appeal to him at all for whatever reason. His passion was for me. So I decided to jump in both feet, in knowing that, being the son of the founder, grandson of the founder, and then son of the current chairman and CEO, was not going to make my life very easy.
That's for sure.
We had a few people gunning for me because they wanted me out of the way, so I wasn't in their way and that kind of thing. So there were a few bumpy moments as we went along there. But so anyway, I jumped in and said, let's kind of do what it takes to see if I can earn my way to be chairman and CEO of Motorola. And I went to my father, by the way, in the early days and said, look, if at any point in time, and here's the only promise you have to make to me, that is, if at any point in time you or a board committee or whatever it turns out to be says, I'm not qualified, or you don't want me to do it, or therefore it's never going to happen, you've got to get in the car or get on your airplane and come see me wherever I am in the world and tell me that. And by the way, you and I will lock arms, shake hands, we'll walk out the door, and I'm never coming back because I don't want to be here unless I can be CEO. And I said, that's the only promise you have to make to me. You'll tell me instantly when it's not possible. And it's all I ever asked for, ever.
Where does that edge come from because I think 99 out of 100 people, they meet you, they're going to say, wow, this is a values driven, straightforward, thoughtful, calm guy. Where does where did that edge come from?
My grandfather, Paul. Yeah. God love him. Yeah. And then my father, and then myself. So the story really is Paul Galvin, God love him. He was instinctive. He was an instinctive leader, and that's why he was a great founder, and that's why he never gave up, kind of thing. And then unfortunately, for the right reasons, the wrong reasons, he'd lose his temper. I mean, completely, say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, or whatever it turns out to be. And finally, the company learned that they really were hoping he'd blow his top, 3 times a month, because he always came back and had to apologize and said something or that they didn't really need or whatever to kind of make it up. And then my father, God love him, he was a very quiet guy, as most people knew, and which is why when I learned from him, you know, you sit through a meeting and don't say anything. You can ask a few questions, but don't say anything. And then sum the meeting up at the end relative to giving a direction, where should we go, whatever. And that the only time one should display temper or really tough edge is when you are purposefully staging sending a message. Because if you do it too often, it loses its impact.
Yeah.
And so that's why you never saw it from me very often. And you never saw it from Bob Galvin very often, because we only wanted to use it where we really needed to. And
Yeah.
that was a leadership tactic, is what it was. And it was, staged, purposefully staged, and to when we wanted to really send a message. So that, and as I tell everybody, I never learned anything when I'm talking.
You and I know that culture, it's the outcome of, of lots
Yeah.
of time, lots of energy, years and years and years to shape it into something. And then you decided, okay, we have Six Sigma, we have total customer satisfaction, and then we work together on leadership supply,
Exactly.
which is shaped, that was, that was so far ahead of its time. The whole notion of, matching supply with demand in a leadership context. That was an amazing experience for me. But talk to me a little bit, Chris, about this very compact agenda that had a couple of values and a few culture shaping initiatives, and that was it.
So Sandy, there are words that are important in the Galvin ecosystem or vernacular. And the first two are trust, and the second is essence.
Essence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people say, well, Chris, I get the trust thing, because if I trust you, you trust me authentically, almost anything's possible.
Yeah.
Okay. The essence part was that the Galvin's business model for Motorola was huge complexity, huge risk, global diversification. So we had 900 balls in the air at one time, all the time. And if you wanted to manage because when I was CEO, I think I had, not me, but the company had 60 profit and loss statements above 15 or 20 million. So you're trying to manage a portfolio and they're all complicated businesses. So long story short. So trust in essence was, if you couldn't distill the problem to its most elegant definition so you can focus on the leveraged items of whatever the problem is to be solved, you can't manage that kind of complexity. So that's why my father and I developed a skill of how do you distill a meeting into a 3-minute summary, okay, and then give direction as to where you go for. Second part of it, Sandy, is a philosophy of life, is what I always try to shape these things into just a few words, was to achieve. Yeah. Yeah. So let me see if I explain this. So the, um, uh, before achieve, it's to love and to achieve. So if you haven't got a relationship, this is what makes people happy. This is our version of it, kind of thing. Yeah. If they haven't got a relationship with the Lord, or have faith, or a family, or whatever, where you've got emotional contact, different people that you need around you, kind of thing, you're lonely. And if you're lonely, you're unhappy. And and so so you needed that in the system. Secondarily, if people don't achieve at anything, and they can't achieve at anything, they have no opportunity to achieve or everything, they're unfulfilled. And people that are unfulfilled are unhappy. Okay. So if you want to, have a healthy organization, you allow people to take a lot of risk and you say, look, you have to have, that's why we always said family first at Motorola. And so that you can do that or go to church or whatever it turns out to be. And then everybody has to achieve. And that's what we're trying to get to in individual dignity entitlement.